Hello and welcome to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. I'm Brendan Lang along with Mikey K, Mike Karafilidis, two broadcasters for the Brampton Steelheads. Thanks for coming along on Saga 960 or wherever you get your favorite podcasts or watching on YouTube. Once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Mikey, how have things been going? It's been a little while since we've been on the show here together. So you've had a little extended time here. But what's been going on with you?
Not too much, man. Just get back in the swing of things still after Christmas, right? It seems like Christmas was
Yeah.
yesterday still. So every day is Groundhog Day. I know I always say it all the time, but it's just, the same thing all the time and work and whatnot, and then to the rink and lots at the rink we've been lately.
Yeah.
So that's, what, honestly, that's pretty much it with me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I saw some people saying that like January feels like the longest month. I disagree. I feel like it's ended so fast. Like you said, it feels like Christmas was not that long
Yeah.
ago. I don't I don't agree with that at all. I feel like January's taken a little while to get going. Obviously, we're out of January now. We're into February. Then it really starts to pick up. February's a short month, and then you get March, and now we're looking at the playoffs. Now we're looking at the
Mm.
springtime. So
Hmm.
things are moving on quick. We were just talking before. What did you say? 21 games left? Is that all
21
there is?
games. That's it. 21 games, 21 big games left for the Brampton Steelheads coming up.
Yeah,
Let's just say that.
that's yes, you're right. Big
Huge.
games. Think about the start of the season doesn't even feel that long ago either. Like
No, it
you
feels like
go back.
yesterday. I
I know.
know. Right? It
Yeah.
just it seems like we just got to the rink and we're ready to go for the first time, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, 21 games left in the season, right?
Yeah.
So
See, it feels like we were
uh
just at the golf tournament. We were just,
there you
after
go.
that we saw the Rakoff trade, and then it was like it
Yeah.
really doesn't feel all that long ago. But
No.
it was a little while ago, and the Steelheads, they're in one right now. They're in the middle of a little bit of a tough stretch. We'll start with the first game in Peterborough. That was a win, 4-3 in that one. The Steelheads again coming out playing a close game. It seems like they play close games every single night. That one, of course, that was on Thursday night in Peterborough. The Steelheads again coming out with the win. Porter Martone gets a goal and an assist. Lucas Carmiris scores the game-winning goal, also gets suspended in that game.
Mm.
But just kind of, your thoughts on that one. Obviously, they do pick up the 2 points, but probably still closer than we would have liked to see.
Yeah, I mean Peterborough was the better team to start, that's for sure. They got off to a 2-0 lead against the Steelheads in that game, right? And they were really pressing the Steelheads in their own zone. They're a young team, they're a hungry team, they're a pesky team. Ever since they picked up Gavin Bryant, ever since they picked up Brady Stonehouse as well. Uh, it's just like those two to me. It's just ever since they picked those two up, they've been a different team with these young guys mixed in, right? Brady McCallum's been playing really well.
Yeah.
Colin Fitzgerald's been playing really well for them. But anyways, so they got off to that 2-0 lead, and Steelers had to fight back, and they did. They did fight back, but I think that's been a problem for Brampton lately. Has been not keeping the pedal to the metal in the beginning. And so, but they had to come back that game. They did come back. Braden Gillespie uh, let in maybe two goals. Maybe he could have gotten back, but after those two goals, boy, did
Yeah.
he really really stiffened up back there and really played well. And it was a big win 4-3 uh, to start that back to back.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously is big to pick up a win to start the home and home, and then of course we'll talk about it a little bit after. But they go to Owen Sound as well on that uh, kind of tight schedule on the weekend there. Another, you were talking about the names on Peterborough. We should also mention as we get into the game in Brampton, both goaltenders looked really good for
Oh yeah,
Peterborough as well. Like
how can I forget?
Zach Bowen was great in that game in Peterborough.
Yeah, yeah. He was amazing. He was good. That's a guy they picked up from the London Knights, actually. So yeah, he's been really good. Easton Rye's been good. He played in the second of the back to back in that game. And didn't make the saves that he made. Let's just say that the guy's got a save percentage over 900 right now. So that says it all.
Yeah, it's a good tandem there for sure. So we can talk about the game now. As you mentioned, Easton Rye got the start in the second game for the Peterborough Petes. Jack Ivankovic back in the net for Brampton in that one. That one ended up as a 5-4 loss for the Steelheads. I thought there was actually pretty good energy in the building to start that game.
Mhm.
You had the Trout coming out on the ice. It was a little
Yeah.
bit of a different a little bit of a different scene. I've never seen that before in Brampton or in Mississauga for that matter.
Mhm.
So that was pretty cool to see. But the Steelheads, they come out and once again, you had mentioned it's kind of been a theme for them where they get off to slow starts. They give up the first goal. They don't give up the first goal in this one. Luke Misa does get on the board to start, but then right away they allow the Petes back into it. 3 straight goals in the first period to put them down.
Yeah, that's always been. I mean, it's always been, again, not always, but most of the time, been the problem with this team has been the pushback. They've always let the teams, like, they'll score and then all of a sudden the pushback will come like right away. Um, and then the team gets kind of down and whatnot. But yeah, they got to stop the pushback. They got to start being more aggressive. Like, I mean, they were aggressive in that second game, though. I'll tell you, bodies were they were finishing their checks. The off in the Peterborough zone. They were really playing well, finishing their checks, hitting their guys. But Easton Rye was absolutely phenomenal in that game too. Let's not forget some of the saves that he made. I mean, they got almost outshot. I think it was like 47-21 or 45-21, something like that. Whatever. He was phenomenal in that game, finishing checks. They were doing well with that. Their defensive zone coverage was there was a lot of odd man rushes I found.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe the Steelheads, and then I'm sure James Richmond will address that and he'll fix that for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. It feels like that's definitely something that needs to be looked at. You talk about the odd man rushes. You talk about kind of letting players in behind the defense. We see that quite often, or at least we
Hmm.
have seen that pretty often here with the Brampton Steelheads. You saw that kind of late in that game. You know, you had a 2-on-1 that allowed Caden Taylor to get that goal, and then it was a 3-on-2 that Colin Fitzgerald finishes it off with. So does come back to bite them in the end. And like you said there, you got to give credit to the Petes and to Easton Rye. I mean, they played a good game, but for the Steelheads, I mean, you don't really, expect to give up 5 goals in that game, in that scenario. So tough loss for the Steelheads in that one. And then they go back out on the road to Owen Sound. And we talk about good goaltending. You got to face Carter
Yeah.
George when you go out there. So, I mean, you're
And
definitely
he
going
was
to see.
good.
Yeah, exactly. He's been on fire recently in all the games that he's played. But second
Hmm.
star honors in that game for him. But the Steelheads, again, just can't quite come out on top. They get the first goal. And like you said, the pushback there in the second period from Owen Sound gives them the lead.
Yeah, I mean they came back with the lead. A goal got called back from McDonnell too,
Mm-hmm.
with the kicking motion. I think it was a kicking motion, that one there, more than the one it was in Flames. Just to say that was not a kicking motion. This one was. So they get a goal called back, and again, Owen Sound, the same kind of way they played in the third period when they came back here when they played when it was 4-1 for the Steelheads and they played in that third period. The way the young guys played out there just kept pushing, pushing, pushing. That's the way they played in the second and third period. Pierce Bowie is an absolute phenomenal player
Yeah.
for that Owen Sound team. They got a really, really good young core up there. So and they just kept pushing the Steelheads, pushing them, pushing them, pushing them. Steelheads were getting some good chances as well coming back the other way. Lots of odd man rushes, but Carter George was absolutely phenomenal. You could see why he was a second round pick of the of the Los Angeles Kings, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of those games, and you want to put behind it. But the good part is here. You know what the good part is, Brendan? There's 21 games left in the season. There's a lot of games left to go. There's a lot of games left to fix this right now, and I'm sure James Richmond and staff are going to fix this. We have all the coaches. James Richmond will. So it makes me laugh that a lot of people are already counting the Steelheads team out when there's 21 games left. I mean, they're already standing the standings. Oh, Barry's going to be number 1. Kingston's going to be number 2. Brantford's going to be 3. How do you know that? That's just saying. 21 games left. The way I feel, the hottest team going into the playoffs, and the Steelheads right now with 21 games left, I'm going to say if they want to jump to get a home ice advantage, are probably going to have to win at least 15 of those games, or maybe
Yeah.
16. 16 because it's a gauntlet up there in that Eastern Conference. But they could do it. They could do it with this talent. Just some things need to be tinkered with, and I have all the confidence in the staff to do it.
I agree with you. I mean, you look at the team on paper; it's one of the best teams, in the OHL on paper. And I do think that, like you said, with the coaching staff, they're going to figure out a way to get it back on track. And as you mentioned, 21 games left. You look at the standings right now. Steelhead sitting in 7th place, 48 points, just a few behind the Sudbury Wolves, who they're going to be seeing here pretty soon. So that's a big game upcoming this weekend. You've got Erie. And of course, those games will be played when this is aired, but you've got Erie and you've got Kingston. So Erie, not in the Eastern Conference, but a team that they do play quite often for being a West team, and a team that is up there in the West. And then Kingston, who's had a really, really good year. Both going to be tough games, both of them coming at home. So the Steelheads definitely looking to improve on what's been going on recently. And then kind of on the same token as that, as you just said, look to move up the standings a little bit here, because like you said, there is still a chance for it to happen 100%.
Yeah, the good part is, they play these 2 games at home coming up, right? And it's huge. And Erie, this is going to be the last game of the season that they play. Then they're going to be minus, of course, Matthew Schaefer, minus their head coach, Stan Butler. We don't know what happened there, but he's been let go from the Erie Otters. Ken Paroff, Wes Wolf took over, and behind the bench, their GM is behind the bench right now, Dave Brown. So besides that, they got some good offensive players, the Erie Otters. They got Mishak up there, Pano Femus, of course, Kerry Torrance. There you go. They're pretty much a 1.5 line team, as I call them. If you could stop that line, you'll be successful and get on their defense. If the Steelheads can do what they did against Peterborough, and they got a good goaltender too. Sorry, not to mention Noah Erliden. But if the Steelheads can get on their defense and start forechecking and start hitting them like they did against the Peterborough Petes, all the chances they were getting against Easton Rye when he was robbing them left and right, I think the Steelheads will be successful. But the defensive zone coverage has to be good against this Erie team and against this Kingston team who's coming in, who's loaded up at the trade deadline. And we'll talk about that after, but Erie's first.
Right. We will. We'll definitely discuss that after the break. But before we do that, we've got our guest coming up, one of the newest Steelheads, Vilmer Alriksson, coming up next. So we'll get to that here in a moment on Saga 960 AM. You're listening to Trout Talk. And welcome back to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. I'm Brendan Lang with Mikey K, Mike Karafilidis, 2 broadcasters for the Brampton Steelheads, again on Saga 960, wherever you get your podcasts or watching on YouTube. And as I mentioned just before we went to the break, we have one of the newest Brampton Steelheads, Vilmer Alriksson, on the show right now.
Hey,
thanks for coming on. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me. Just come home from practice, so thanks for having me.
You look like $1 million. Sorry,
I know. How has practice been going here over the past few days?
Good. Good compete level. I think our intensity have increased. So I think we're practicing better, and I think that will make us play better as well.
What is Vilmer? First of all, thanks so much for joining us. It's your first time here as a Brampton Steelhead, of course. Welcome to Trout Talk. Really appreciate it. But what was the vocal point of practice? What did you guys really work on?
Just some battle drills, get to compete, level up, playing more physical, sorting out the D zone, and it was good.
And you talk about, of course, being in practice, and that's a time to get together with your teammates and build some chemistry. How has it been for you? Coming over at the deadline, first time getting traded in the OHL. So what's that whole experience been like?
It was fun. Brampton was one of the teams I wanted to go to, so it was good to get this opportunity, and I've been very welcomed from everyone since day one. So I enjoy it.
Very, very good. So. So did you guys, I have to go back and practice. Did you guys work on special teams a lot in practice?
Yeah, we did that today as well.
How do you feel about the special teams, about the power play? Obviously, you've been playing kind of the net front presence. So how's the feeling of what's been going on there?
No, I think it's good. The more we practice it, the better it will become. So just keep working on it as much as possible, and we'll see some better results.
So you played for a couple coaches there in Guelph. You played for Corey Stillman, you play. Let's talk about Corey Stillman playing for Corey Stillman. I really want to focus on that because I've known him for a long time and I have total respect for him. How was he? How did he help develop your game? First of all, then we'll talk about James Richmond. To talk about Corey Stillman, how he developed your game, him being a former NHL, won Stanley Cups and whatnot. But talk about him.
Yeah, he's like one of the best coaches I've had. Like so experienced, and he gets the most out of everyone. And he's a really good coach. Details. He can yell at you if you play bad, but he's he's good.
And then Mike, you just mentioned it there. We can talk a bit about James Richmond as well. Maybe what's kind of been the difference that you've seen in the coaching staff since you've come over from Guelph, and sort of how has that helped your game in different ways?
Yeah, no, it's good to get to have like two coaches during one season to get some new perspective. And JR is a really good coach, so get some new details and stuff to work on from him. So yeah, two really good coaches.
So you're drafted by the Vancouver Canucks. You played in the preseason. I remember watching you play in the preseason. You played pretty well. You played against Carson Raykoff, right?
Yeah,
So how is it playing against Carson Raykoff?
Yeah, he's so skilled. Like his shot is the best in the OHL, I would say. So really good, really skilled player, and it's fun to watch him every day.
And we kind of asked this to all the guys who have experience playing in preseason or just being in pro camp, but what did you learn there that maybe you didn't necessarily know before, and something that you can take back now to this team and playing in the OHL?
No, I think just the habits they have, like they always like prepare 100%, and always like work their hardest every day, and the preparation, I would say, just how much details they have.
Yeah, for sure. Now, have you ever thought to yourself, because I say this all the time to the guys, and Brendan will totally agree. He'll start laughing when I say this. Every time you touch the puck, do you ever think to yourself, nobody can stop me and I can go to the net and no one will stop me? Because that's the way I feel every time you get the puck. If you shield your body, I don't think anybody can stop you. I'm just saying.
No, I agree.
So kind of on the same point as that, I mean, you obviously play like a physical style of game as well, with not just necessarily in that regard of shielding guys from the puck, but has that always been a part of your game? Is that always something you've tried to do throughout your career?
No, I was more like, I relied more on skill, like a couple of years ago. But yeah, since I got drafted, I kind of knew that I need to be a power forward to rely on my size more. So that's what I've been trying to do the last couple of years.
So promise me that you're going to take the puck to the net at least 3 times and shield that man off and score a couple goals against your countryman, Noah Erliden. How much are you looking forward to facing him? How much are you looking forward to facing him?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I played with him some tournaments back in the day, so he's a good goalie. But I know what to do if I have a breakaway on him.
I love it.
So you have the experience playing against him, obviously coming, to a different country to play, and there's a bunch of, different aspects to it. The ice surface is smaller. Like, what's kind of been the biggest adjustment? Now you're in your second year here, but what's that adjustment been like coming over from Europe?
No, it's a pretty big adjustment last year. Just everything is new, like with a new country and everything. And with the hockey, it's more like higher physicality, higher intensity. You gotta make decisions quicker, and just keep your head up. So
Vilmer, ever since I know this team is in 7th place, and we know this team has so much capabilities to move up in the standings. What's your feeling with this team? 21 games left. Do you still feel that this team can go all the way?
yeah, Yeah, definitely. I think we have one of the best rosters in the entire league. So if we just like get things working again, we will be a really good team.
And you talk about the roster there, and somebody that it seems like you've had pretty good chemistry with to start is Angus McDonnell, and it seemed like it built up pretty quickly. Just what's that been like being able to play with him?
Yeah, like I think we have some chemistry, and it's fun to play with him. We both like to go to the net, and so yeah, hopefully I can keep playing with him.
All right. Okay, we got to get to know you a little bit here. I've never been to Sweden before. All right. Now, I've always wanted to go to Sweden. Honestly, I've always wanted to go to Sweden, just out in Finland and whatnot. But Sweden would be my number one choice. Don't ever tell Jakob that or anything like that. He'll probably, because whatever, whatnot. But I mean it though. So tell me about life in Sweden. It's a bit more relaxed than it is here in North America, isn't it?
Relaxed, I don't know, but it's I feel it's pretty similar to Canada, to be honest.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And the pubs and all that kind of stuff, restaurants. What's a big food? What's a big delicacy in Sweden?
Of course, meatballs with mashed potatoes,
That's it. There you go.
lingonberry jam,
That sounds good.
and Swedish pancakes. It's really good.
Oh, what's in a Swedish pancake?
Yeah,
Talk
what's the
about that.
difference between
It's
a
like
North American
it's more like a crepe, like crepe.
Oh,
So, but it's way bigger, and they have jam in it,
okay. So
or
when you
applesauce.
make the millions, you're gonna take me out to Sweden, right?
I
And you're gonna
promise.
show. You're gonna. That's what I want to hear. They're gonna show me around. I'm gonna stay like 2 weeks down there, and then That's it. And I'm gonna have the whole Vilmer tour. Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How about here? Like, what about the food here? Is there anything that maybe you hadn't had before you came to North America that you tried and you've liked, or is it pretty similar?
Poutine.
Yeah,
Poutine I've had a couple times.
Chicken parm.
It's good food here. Yeah, chicken parm. So yeah.
That's the big one, right? Everybody's had chicken parm. Everybody chicken parm all the time. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, I mean that's amazing. So talk about you work with Stefan Thorn on the offensive side, right? What has Thorny helped you with the most so far in your game? How has he helped your game?
No, he's good. Like during games, he gives you like feedback right after a shift, what you can do better. So just details, and then we like before and after practice we might work on some on the shot, on some shooting, or yeah. So it's good.
and you'd mentioned before about going to camp and seeing the preparation for you. What does it look like for you to prepare for a game? Like what goes on, throughout the day before you go out and play?
I have my like routine when I come to the rink, just how I warm up, what I eat, how yeah. I don't have like a lot of like superstitions, but
No.
no, not a lot. Like more a routine, depending on what my body like feels like for the day.
Right.
So sometimes you'll say you'll go to sleep maybe before the game, maybe for like half an hour. Is that what
Yeah,
you're trying to say?
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
Oh my goodness me! Oh, we were looking forward to having you on, but we had some technical difficulties last week, so we apologize for that. Just wanted to say that right now. But yeah, man, but you got to promise me though. I said 2 times. You got to promise me 4 times. You're gonna take the puck to the net. Now 4 times. 2 against Erie. And 2 against Kingston, because I really, really don't think anybody can stop you. I remember seeing you in Guelph do that like a lot, and I was blown away. I was like, man, who's gonna stop this guy? There's no chance because you got that wingspan. You're a big man, whatnot. But I'd like to see you do that. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Do it for me. Do it for me. Do it for Brendan.
I'll do it for you.
Two for me. Two for Brendan.
Okay.
Last one from me. I just wanted to ask. Obviously, it's got to be kind of an odd thing being traded and playing, in the same league as your former teammates. But you got to play against the Steelheads earlier this year with Guelph. So what was that like? Seeing them on the ice as opponents and then having to join them a little while later.
Yeah, I think it was a school day game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was. I don't remember a lot, but no, we lost. Like Guelph lost. So yeah, tough to play against. Yeah, good goaltending. No, just hard to play against. Offensive team, scored a lot of goals.
Kind of helped that you came over in the trade too, and you got to come over with Gillespie, who you knew for a long time. So that must have helped you out big time, right? Coming to Brampton.
Yeah, exactly. Good to have someone you know since before. So yeah.
Amazing.
All right. Vilmer, thank you so much. Oh yeah, there's one other thing I did want to ask, because we had a Connor Smith on. We were talking about. Sorry. Yeah. I was going to throw that in. We were talking to Connor Smith a couple weeks ago. And we were talking about his nickname. Do you have a nickname? Is there anything that everybody calls?
Yeah, Ricky.
Okay, Ricky. Where does that come from? Is it Alriksson? Is that what?
Alriksson. So yeah.
Ricky, Ricky.
Ricky, there we go. Now we know.
That's where it came from. Friday Night Lights, and they got Ricky. Right? That's what they called Gillespie and Guelph, and they called you Ricky. So from now on, we're going to call. I know I always call you Big Man, but now it's Ricky.
Yeah.
All right, okay, you're going to switch off Big Man. He's going to go to Ricky now. All right, Ricky, Vilmer, thank you so much for coming on. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Good luck for the rest of the year. We'll see you around the rink, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we will.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right, that was one of the newest Brampton Steelheads, playing great since he's come over in the trade, Vilmer Alriksson. Big thank you to him for coming on the program. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll recap the interview, and then we'll talk about some games coming up for the Steelheads. They've got a lot of hockey to play here upcoming, so we will talk about that after the break. You're listening to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. And welcome back to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. I'm Brendan Lang with Mikey K, Mike Karafilidis, here on Saga 960 AM on this Sunday afternoon, or if you're listening wherever you get your favorite podcasts or watching on YouTube, thanks for coming along. We just had Vilmer Alriksson. We learned he goes by Ricky. Vilmer Alriksson. Now we can change Big Man to Ricky.
Big Man to Ricky. All
right. Thank you to Vilmer for coming on the program. It's always really interesting to talk to guys not only being traded to a different team, but coming over from a different country first, starting with a different franchise, and then having to move places within the new country that you're playing in. I mean, that's definitely got to be a tough situation, but he's obviously handled it really, really well.
Yeah, he has. I mean, here's a guy that got drafted by the Vancouver Canucks. He's property of the Canucks, and Ricky, he's a big man, and he's focused, as you can see, and he's always focused, and he's always thinking. That's one thing I like about him. And he brings that physical presence. I don't think we've seen the full Vilmer Alriksson yet, though. I really don't see we've seen the full Monty, as they say. So I'm telling you, and I'm going to say this one more time, I don't think anybody could stop this guy if he goes to the net, if he shields his body. I really hope he's a man of his word. And he does it 4 times, 2 for me, 2 for you. But yeah, so he's a big presence. He's got a good shot. And I like how he talked about how he said, I started off being that skill kind of guy and whatnot, and I learned the physical game here, right? Under the coaches. So that's going to benefit him so much at the next level. But, and as well, he said, I liked what he said about the practices too, how he said the practices have been very, very intense. And he's really, really confident they're going to get things turned around. So you got to like that coming from him.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, as he said, he even said they've been more intense than usual. So he thinks that's gonna help them going forward. And you would probably think that would be the case. And like you said, I agree with you. I don't know if anybody can stop him either. It seems like anytime he gets the puck, there's just guys bouncing off of him. It's like he's got a force field around him anytime he has the puck. So yeah, I think that's a big part of his game, and it's interesting too. Him and Angus playing together. Such obviously different stature, but like they come out and they play the same way with the physicality plus the skill. It's a really good match with those two playing together, and also as you mentioned there, that he developed the physical part of the game, because obviously he's got a ton of skills. I mean, you see great hands that he possesses, and then just adding that physical element to it is what's made him a great player here in the OHL, and what I think will make him a really, really solid player in the NHL as well in the next level. So yeah, he's been a huge addition for this team. And Mikey, like you said, you hope that he keeps his word for going to the net. You also hope that he keeps his word for taking you to Sweden after
Yes,
he makes his big money.
Yes, because we know he's going to make the big bucks. So
Right.
if he can supply, the house down there, I'm sure he has a house. Would love, could love to meet his family, could stay with his family and whatnot, and he can show me around Sweden, because that's a place where I've always wanted to go my whole life. So.
Yeah.
Yes. The food sounds great, and of course, the Swedish meatballs. How did I forget about the Swedish meatballs? Of course, and the crepes. I love those pancakes he was talking about. Eh? Oh,
yeah. They sound. Would you say they had
God.
apple butter in them, or
yeah.
and jam? Man, that sounds amazing. I'm
Imagine
getting
making
hungry
them.
now.
I know my stomach's starting to shrink. That shrinking feeling. It's going. That's what I got going on, but. Yeah, he's a pro. He's going to be.
Yep.
He's only 19, eh? So.
Right. Yeah. No, he definitely. He's obviously grown a lot in his game, and still lots of room to grow as well, as you said. Still a young player in this league, and going on to the next level. All right, so let's talk about what the Steelheads have coming up here. We'll quickly go over Erie. The game's on Friday in Brampton. Of course, this will have aired by the time that game happens, but just quickly, your thoughts on the Steelheads against the Erie Otters this upcoming weekend.
Well, yeah, I touched on it briefly. I guess I'll say it again, but yeah, Erie's pretty much one line, two lines sometimes. That's pretty much it. But their defense are missing, of course, Matthew Schaefer. Wish him all the best in his recovery, whatnot. He got himself hurt in the World Juniors. His collarbone. He's probably done for the whole season, right? But this is a team. If you get on their defense, if you're intense, you finish your checks, especially in the Erie zone, you can cause them to turn the puck over, big time. So if they could cause them to turn the puck over, get back to the system, the James Richmond tough system, when it sounds like Alriksson or Ricky was saying, the intensity level was big time. So we'll see what happens there. That'll be key against the Kingston Frontenacs. They're going to have to do the same thing. But Kingston, they're an older team though. They're an older team. This is a team that's going for it. They picked up Ethan Hay. They picked up from the Saginaw Spirit, Joey Willis from the Saginaw Spirit. They also picked up Charlie Schenkel, which was kind of a bizarre trade for him for Nolan Lalonde. But maybe that might work out for them. Overager for overager. Yeah. So. They got Ethan Miedema up there, the guy that loves to play against the Steelheads. He's got a really good shot. They got Battaglia, they got Gage Hayes. They got some good talent up there. So the Steelheads are going to have to play a really, really physical game again against these Kingston Frontenacs and cause them to take penalties, because they will. And sometimes. So if they could do that again and get lots of shots on Charlie Schenkel, and they could be successful.
Yeah, no, I agree with those two things, and I think the biggest thing too for those games is getting off to a quick start. That's where the Steelers, we talked about it in the first segment, they've fallen behind in games, or even when they have scored the first goal, they've allowed teams to get right back in the game after that. If you could get off to a fast start, get the first goal, get maybe the first two goals, have a lead after the first period, I think that could just go such a long way in having the confidence to continue to play well throughout the game. So both of those games, all the things that you mentioned, getting it on a forecheck, making their D make quick decisions. You're going to probably get strong goaltending from the Steelheads. And Ricky there talked about it too. They were working on defensive structure in the practice as well. So, shutting things down, or at least to the best of their abilities in the defensive zone, plus getting in on the forecheck, making those D make quick decisions, and hopefully you can get a few early on and ride that. But that's going to be kind of the big focal point, I would think, for those two games. All right, so let's move on to the next week, because after that, then they go on a tough road trip. First, it's Wednesday coming up this week in Sudbury. That's a 7:00 game on Wednesday. You know, Sudbury and the Steelheads, they always have a rivalry. Both teams get up to play each other. Should be a great one in Sudbury that night.
Yeah, that's it's always a great one when these two teams meet up. You know it's going to be physical. You know it's going to be it's going to be scoring. You know there's going to be everything. There's probably going to be a fight in that game. I mean, just to say, you never know. There
Yeah.
might be a fight. I'm trying to say, but don't forget last year. Hey, the Steelheads still have it in their mind from last year when the Wolves knocked them out of the playoffs. And if you talk to any Steelhead, they'll tell you the same thing that was in that playoff series, right? So yeah, you know it's going to be intense. You know, Coach Adelic is going to loves to play against the Brampton Steelheads. Here's a guy who plays for the Sudbury Wolves, and we've heard from their people. I mean, that game he was maybe not slated supposed to play. He said, "I want to play because it's against Brampton." What happens? He scores a hat trick, right? So just to say, you got to stop him. You got to stop Villeneuve. They got some scoring up there. They picked up Henry Muse, of course, from the
Yeah.
Ottawa 67s, Calgary Flames draft pick. Villeneuve, you got to stop. You got to stop Kieran Walton as well. You got to stop those four guys, and you should be successful. Their goaltending, maybe Sudbury's goaltending, maybe is a little bit suspect to me. With Nate Krawchuk back there and Finn Marshall. Now they made a couple moves, of course, picking up, like I said, Henry Muse, but they picked up Noah Roberts as well from the Brantford Bulldogs. I thought maybe they could have gone for goaltending, but they have confidence in Nate Krawchuk, and he's a good goalie. Not to say he's a bad goalie, but he's a good goalie. So it'll be interesting. That game's going to be intense and it's going to be tough, especially up there in Sudbury. It's a tough place to win that arena up there. So.
Yeah, really tough place to play. And also, you're saying, they always get up for that game. You mentioned Coach Adelic, who's always seems like he's killing the Steelheads. Not only do they play them this week, they still got 4 more games against the Sudbury Wolves before the end of the year. So, like you said it, 21 games left, 4 of them against Sudbury, and Sudbury's 3 points up on the Steelheads right now. So, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight down the stretch between these two teams, and it's all going to start on Wednesday. It should be a great one. And then after that, they're staying out north. They're staying up north, I should say. Yeah. And then they go to North Bay. And North Bay, a team that they sold at the deadline. They sold off most of their pieces. Right now, they're sitting in 9th place, but they're close to a playoff spot with Ottawa. They're still kind of battling there. They're a team that came into Brampton and won. So, I mean, it's not an easy game whatsoever.
That's a team, you know what? Don't be surprised if they get that number 8 spot in the playoffs and they overtake the Ottawa 67s. I mean, yeah, they got rid of a lot of guys at the trade deadline. They got rid of Van Steetzel. They got rid of Romani. They got rid of Wakely. I mean, that's 3 right there, I can say, right? But they picked up some young guys as well. And these young guys are really, really, really playing hard for Coach Ryan Houlihan, who's a very, very good coach up there. Really good developmental coach in North Bay. So it's going to be a tough one, especially out there again at that North Bay Memorial Gardens in front of those fans. So they really get up for it, those Northern fans. I'll tell you that. I don't know what it is. I think it's like the North against the South. Here comes the South. Oh, we got to go harder. We got to go crazy in the stands. I think that's what it is, it seems like.
Maybe.
But I think so. Here comes those big bad Southerners, right? So that's the way they look at us, right? And then when they come here, it's like, oh, hello, how are you? But they're actually very, very accommodating up there. They're actually very nice. I'm actually just kidding around, but that's going to be a tough game. Really, really 2 tough games.
Yep, 2 tough games, and North Bay again. It's a young team. We saw a young team in Owen Sound, a young team in Peterborough. They're always going to come out and put a great effort forward. Shamar Moses has been awesome for them, and he's a player. I think he's going to be really good for a long time in this league.
Vaughn.
So Parker Vaughn as well. They get him from Barrie too. Yeah, they got some really, really quality young players. So that should be an interesting one. And then the Steelers finish it off against the Oshawa Generals. It doesn't get any easier. No, my goodness. So again, you're facing off against one of the best teams in the OHL. I know they're in 4th place right now, but a team that is loaded up, not just at the deadline, but all season, going back to when they acquired Colby Barlow. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough game, especially in Oshawa as well. Another place that's usually rocking.
Yeah, that place is going to be rocking, that's for sure. It hasn't been a good place for the Steelheads in years, too. So I can't even remember the last time the Steelheads won in that building. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I mean, you nailed it right there with Barlow. I mean, they picked up Andrew Gibson at the trade deadline from the Sioux Greyhounds, another tough defenseman. Um, they picked up Martin from the Windsor Spitfires, pretty good forward as well. They still got Seneca. They still got Richie. They still got Torrance. They still got, Danford back there.
Yep.
Leafs draft pick. Man, it's tough. It's going to be a tough one, especially out there. But if anybody can do it, hey, you know what? Steelheads can do it. They can do it.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. The Steelheads can definitely go into Oshawa, pick up a win, and it would be great to get a couple wins before going in there to get some confidence going into Oshawa as well.
And that game might come down to goaltending. That Oshawa, the Oshawa and Steelheads game might come to goaltending. You probably see Jack Ivankovic get to start there most likely, and he'll be playing most likely against Jacob Oster. So 2 good goaltenders. I think that game's going to come down to goaltending. Whoever has the best goaltender in that game is going to win.
It definitely could. And both teams extremely potent offenses. So, like you said, the goaltending is going to be really, really important. And then after that, it's back home against the Niagara Ice Dogs. We won't talk about that game though because we're going to have an episode before the Family Day game. But again, schedule gets tough, and it's all big games from here on out.
Huge.
With 21 games remaining. All right, Mikey. Thank you so much for being here. We thank Vilmer Alriksson, Ricky, for coming on the program today, talking to us just about what's going on with the Steelheads right now, talking about practice, talking about his kind of journey throughout the OHL. So great to hear from him. And before we go, Mikey, you got anything for us, tips-wise?
Life tips? Just win, baby, as Al Davis says.
Win, baby.
Just win, baby. That's it. Just win. That's all I have to say.
I like it.
Win.
I like it.
And lay off of the pizza.
I feel like it's been a tip a few times on this show. Lay off of the pizza. Yeah.
I have to keep saying it to remind myself. That's the problem. So
it's so good though, man. Why do they have to make it like that? Anyways, we won't talk about food anymore because I know we're already hungry.
We talk about food a lot.
All right. Thank you so much for coming along with us today. Again, if you're listening on Saga 960 or wherever you get your podcasts, big week coming up for the Steelheads. We will talk to you again next week. I'm Brendan Lang. That's Mikey K. Mike Karafilidis. Thank you so much for coming along, and have a great afternoon.